So I'm a sucker for good deals, right? If I see a game in the Xbox Marketplace or the Steam store that even looks marginally interesting for like under $3, I'm gonna pick it up, just because why not? Well, watch my last video if you want to know why not. But that's how I came across RICO. The elevator pitch that I heard for RICO was Slay the Spire, but a first-person shooter. Now, that's a way to get people's attention, but before you get too aroused, just know that that elevator pitch is, well, it's exactly that. It's an elevator pitch. But let me back up a bit. Hey, what's up? My name's Zach, and I like getting all of the achievements in the weirdest or really old or obscure games that I could find. And that's how I came across RICO. I'd never heard of this game before, and I really didn't do any research into it because it was on sale for $2.50. So I just kind of said, fuck it, why not? And I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised. Having not looked into it, I was kind of expecting another Tales of the Serpent King, Crypt of the Serpent King remastered 4K, which if you watched my last video, you know that was a very disappointing game. But I'm happy to tell you guys that that was not the case with RICO. RICO is well worth the price of admission. Well, at least the price of admission that I paid, which was $2.50. I don't know what it costs at full price. It might be a little steep, who's to say. But if you can find this game on sale, I'd recommend it. And here's why. So RICO is this interesting blend of FPS and roguelike, right? You play as a cop, kicking indoors, blasting mobsters, narcos, and Stavros Halkias lookalikes, all in these labyrinths of procedurally generated environments, right? At the end of each mission, you get these like good boy points based on your performance that you can use to buy new weapons, attachments, health, armor, that sort of thing. Seems like a pretty straightforward game, right? Yeah, no, it is. It's a really simple game, and that's okay. When you start a run or a case, as they call it in this, you're presented with this board, right? With each node on the board representing another procedurally generated racket for you to clear out. That structure is kind of where the Slay the Spire comparison comes in. However, that comparison, it kind of falls apart when you take into account that every node in Slay the Spire can be, I mean, anything from a combat encounter to a boon or a trap or a gamble. Behind every node could be a relic that carries your run or a curse that ends it. Whereas in RICO, behind every node is just a combat encounter. It's literally all combat encounters. Which is fine, don't get me wrong, and that makes sense for an FPS roguelike, right? But I do kind of wish there was a little bit more variety. I wish they kind of went a little more Risk of Rain with it, or Ziggurat. Like, I want stacking upgrades and passive perks so that I can actually develop and experiment with builds in each run. There are perks in the game. You can equip up to 3 perks that you unlock as you level up, but the benefits from all of these perks are nominal at best. They're not really that good, and they don't really change up the playstyle all that much. After each level, you are presented with a really small randomized list of guns and attachments to buy, but since you can only own 2 weapons at a time, most of the attachments available to purchase are for guns that you don't own. You don't have these guns. In most of my runs, I would only buy maybe like 2 or 3 new guns, so the other 10 times that I went to the shop, I was just kind of looking at a bunch of attachments for guns that I didn't own. So I ended up spending most of my good boy points on armor and healing, because in true roguelike fashion, you don't get health back between encounters. If you end the level on 30 health, you're starting the next level at 30 health. Unless you cough up that cold hard cash to heal, you know what I'm saying? There's a joke in there about like American healthcare system, right? Coughing up cold hard cash to heal. I don't know, something Luigi. Now there are both health and ammo pickups scattered throughout the levels, but they're spaced out that it feels fair. You can never really get too comfortable on the harder difficulties, which is exactly how a roguelike should feel. Basically, each level is divided up into different rooms. You kick in the door of a room, you clear out all the enemies, and then you do some sort of randomly generated side task. Sometimes that's collecting evidence, sometimes it's destroying servers full of a questionable material, and sometimes it's defusing bombs, but let's put a pin in that one for now. Get it? Put a pin, like a grenade pin, put a pin in it because it's defusing bombs. I think I'm gonna cut that one, that was fucking bad. But that's essentially RICO in a nutshell. You kick in door, you clear a room, you interact with item, and then you kick in the next door, all the way until you've completed enough objectives to be able to leave the level. Every time you kick in a door, you do a little Modern Warfare 2 slow motion breach thing, and all it makes me think is how much easier this game would be playing on PC with mouse aim, because holy shit, my aim sucks on console. And I don't know why. I grew up playing console shooters. I don't know why I'm so shit at them, but, you know, it is what it is. The missions get progressively harder as you work your way through a case, but with enough practice and some good RNG, it rarely feels unfair. There are two main things, though, that were my downfall playing this game on hard mode. The first is that certain things like completing specific objectives trigger reinforcements to arrive. And that means that enemies will start spawning behind you to hunt you down, so you no longer have that kind of reprieve to collect yourself between room clears. You're constantly under attack. And that's not to mention that every once in a blue moon, enemies will actually surprise you and kick down the door preemptively to surprise you, which of course deprives you of your slow-mo breach advantage. And if you're already fighting with reinforcements, now you're fucking sandwiched, you're pincered between the two enemies. It could be a really frustrating situation to have to handle on the harder difficulty. The other big thorn in my side is the bomb defusal objectives. See, when you kick down a door with a bomb on the other side, a timer immediately starts ticking down, and now, suddenly, you're on the clock to hunt down every other bomb on the floor and defuse them. You don't know what rooms they'll be in, it basically just forces you to throw caution to the wind and speedrun the entire floor, and if you fail, the entire run is over. No, it's not like you restart the map or anything, like, the entire run is over. You're fucking dead. Now, this isn't a huge hassle early on. In the kind of earlier beginner nodes, they'll only ever throw maybe 2 or 3 bombs at you at a time, which isn't too bad. But towards the end of the case, in one of the later nodes, you'll kick down a door only to be tasked with defusing 6 bombs in the next 2 minutes, all while fighting room after room of the highest tier enemies who are decked out like fucking special forces, and 2 of the bombs are behind a locked room, which you need to destroy all of the remote lock consoles to open, which are also spread out across the entire floor. And oh no, reinforcements are coming now too, and you started this level with no armor because the fucking randomized shop didn't offer it to you last time for some reason, and you get the idea. I'm getting worked up. So yeah, reinforcements are kind of a bullshit game mechanic. I understand they want to keep the tension up and they want to keep you on your toes, but you know, they're more frustrating than they are fun. And the bomb objective, also fine on paper, but once they scale with the higher levels, they can feel really fucking unfair when paired with all of these other aspects. But with that being said, these are really only issues that you'll run into on hard mode, which of course you need for an achievement. And that's what this video is about, getting all the achievements in RICO. So let's talk about achievements, huh? So there's a ton of kind of easy bullshit achievements, you know, kill 100, 200, 500, 1,000 enemies, kill 20 enemies with melee, clear 10 rooms in slow-mo, but you know, you'll get all of these probably within the first 2 hours. It's kind of the entire gameplay loop. Before I get into the harder achievements, I should point out that this entire game, and this is one of the main features of the game, actually one of the main selling points, but this entire game is playable in co-op, either split screen or online, and a competent co-op partner it'll benefit you greatly, definitely on these harder achievements. Unfortunately, I don't know anybody that's ever heard of this game other than me. I actually put out a community post on my channel saying, hey, if anybody owns RICO on Xbox, I'm trying to get these achievements. They're really fucking hard. I'd appreciate a hand. And I got one comment that just said, never heard of this game. Yeah, Which is a good time to just ask you guys, if you like this video so far, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment if you've heard of this game before. If you haven't, what do you think of it so far? I'm curious to hear what you guys think. If you subscribe to my channel, my community post will show up in your feed. So if I end up going for a multiplayer achievement in the game that you own, you might see my post pop up and we can play together and you can help me and I'll give you a shout out in my videos. So yeah. Anyway, back to RICO. Outside of the case mode, which is like the roguelike mode, it's like the main part of the game, there are these rotating daily special missions, and there's an achievement for completing a daily training session, which is sort of just a lame training course, as well as a daily operation, which functionally just is one single mission that gives you a preset loadout. Completing both of these gets you 2 achievements. I found them to be pretty easy, but if you struggle on yours, it's a rotating daily mission. So just wait till tomorrow, load it up again, maybe that one will be easier for you. Super Cop is an achievement for finishing 3 missions, losing less than 10 health on each, which isn't a particularly hard achievement to get if you just play on easy mode. But if you're struggling with this one, or you just want to cheese it, every case begins with a skippable training mission where it's impossible to take damage because you're just fighting cardboard cutouts. So just play that and then immediately abandon that case and start a new one and play that one's training mission and then do that a 3rd time. So you just played 3 training missions in a row essentially and you'll get the achievement. The 3 consecutive missions without losing 10 health, they don't have to be from the same case. So then there's a survival mode called Lockdown and an achievement for surviving 10 rounds, which is very hard in my experience. I was trying to do it legit originally and I thought, damn, this might be one I need to save for when I have a co-op partner because this is really hard. But I looked it up on True Achievements, and there's actually a pretty simple cheesing method. So shout out to Forge on True Achievements for Carnage. His name's Carnage. I really read that as Forge. I grew up on Leet Speak. I should know this shit. Anyway, Carnage, he found this perfect little hidey hole in one of the missions in the parking garage, where you can comfortably chill while enemies funnel into you basically one by one. So hitting wave 10 on this is super easy. Face Off is a classic John Woo film starring Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, where Nick drops the classic line,
"If you excuse me, I have to use the little boy's wee-wee room."
Oh, sorry, no, not that one, the 5 seconds before that.
"I'd like to take his face off."
Face Off just also happens to be the name of the achievement for knocking 50 face masks off of enemies in RICO. Headshots are obviously key here, but a little tip, you can actually knock their masks off after they're dead. So blast them wherever you want and then just smash them in the face with your baton. Boomtown is an achievement for killing 3 enemies with a single grenade, which is pretty easy to be honest, but it's one of the last achievements I got because, and here I go complaining again, grenades are incredibly limited. You only get a few per mission, and they cost a decent amount of good boy points, so they're not really worth the investment most of the time, but obviously you gotta get them for this achievement. And if you do, you might as well, on the same run, go for the Operator achievement, which is to kill an enemy with a sidearm, a primary weapon, and a grenade, all in the same room. The higher level nodes will have larger rooms with tons of enemies, so there will be more opportunities in this the farther along in a case you are. There's also, I forgot to mention, a slide mechanic, though I never really found it super useful, but there is an achievement for knocking down an enemy by sliding through a door. There's also some co-op achievements. There's one for reviving a player 5 times, and there's one for completing a co-op mission, basically. Both of these are really easy to knock out, and you can do it split screen, so you don't actually need to have friends. I just logged in as a guest on another controller, like, it's whatever. The final achievement, which is easily the one that gave me the most trouble, is just to complete a case, a full run on hard difficulty. This shit, it kinda sucks, I'm not gonna lie. Enemies chew up your health so fast, and resources are super scarce, but I'm gonna try to give my best tips to you. Well, the number 1 tip would be have a friend buy this game and play in co-op with you. That would make this one way easier, I'm sure. Tip number 2 would be when starting out, just keep re-rolling and refreshing your cases until you get one that has a full path all the way through it that has 0 skulls. I mean, there's always going to be the skull node at the end, but as few skulls as possible. It is possible to have a clean run all the way through until you get to the final node. Those skull nodes, I'm not sure exactly what they represent, but they're definitely harder than the other ones. I'm not sure in what way, if they just have like a boss in there somewhere, but you definitely want to avoid them. My other tip would be to buy the Deagle and the AK. Those two weapons are by far the best. I've heard people recommend the SK as well, but for me, it's AK and Deagle all the way. I could get through like 75% of the map on the Deagle alone. Once you get that loadout, just use the rest of your good boy points to just heal and shields, and always stock 2 revives on you at any given time, and you should be at least as well equipped as you can be. And then finally, if you can, leave some objectives until the very end on your way out. Basically, as you make your way throughout the level, you'll find like the servers of stuff and evidence that you can collect, and sometimes completing these objectives triggers reinforcements to spawn behind you. So if you don't need to grab them, you can just kind of play through the entire level, clear out all the rooms, and then on your way back to the entrance, pick all those things up, destroy the servers, do whatever you gotta do, and hopefully that will mean you have to deal with less reinforcements. But other than that, it really is all RNG. Just keep trying. It's really tough. Like I said, if you can get a friend to buy this game, I imagine it's like night and day. And that's basically it. There are some other achievements like buy every weapon, but like, do I really need to talk about that? Just play on easy and buy the weapons. But overall, RICO was a very enjoyable experience for $2.50. I was very happy with my purchase. I really thought this was going to be another Tales of the Crypt of the Serpent King remastered 4K. I thought this was going to be another worst game on the Xbox Store ? Video, but I don't know, maybe I'll still name it that just for the algorithm boost, because I'm sure that's way more interesting than whatever I'm going to name this video. But if you like this video, like I said, like and subscribe. I really appreciate any support you can throw my way. So I want to hear from you. What did you think about RICO? Is it a game that you'd pick up for $2.50? I mean, come on. Apparently there's actually a sequel called RICO London that came out a couple years ago. From what I've read, it mixes up the formula a little bit, changes some things. Some people like it, some people don't. And of course, if you know of any games that are dirt cheap, that are fun completions, or just fun games in general that you think deserve a little bit more attention, shout them out in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Maybe I'll check them out. Maybe they'll be in the next video. If I do make a video on your game, I'll give you a shout out too. But yeah, that's all. So I'll see you on the next one. You got anything to say to them, Ryan? I can't. The mic doesn't reach this far. Wow. He's a quiet guy.